just got back from a little trip. It was a one-day little trip, and it was pretty much, for the most part, uneventful. It was about a 3-hour drive. I drove over towards Canby, Oregon, and had an invite to Teardroppers of Oregon and Washington. So I decided to go over Saturday morning, stayed Saturday night, came back Sunday afternoon. So the trip was basically a little shakedown on the trailer, and I'll say this, that everything that I expected to see after the trip that would go wrong never went wrong. So I was surprised at that, but there was one thing that I did not expect that did happen, and that was I had a leak. And if you want to see what that was, where it was, and how it happened, stay tuned. So I didn't take a lot of video at the Teardroppers Gathering, but I did shoot a little bit, and I've got some clips coming up. And but for the most part, it was a great trip, one-nighter. Like I said, I met some wonderful people and had a good time. And well, take a look at this little clip. So the gathering was at a little park called Elks Park over in Molino, Oregon. It's close by Canby, and there was quite a few. I mean, it's a pretty good sized campground. It was almost full, and there were several teardroppers there, older ones, but a lot of really neat looking campers. And some of the people that came, they didn't bring their teardrops, but they did bring their other trailers, which was also neat to see. And so I'll show you a clip of that. And I think sometime during the day, you know, we did a lot of talking and laughing and kind of checking out everybody else's rigs. And then we kind of settled in for a little bit of lunch. And like I said, it was pretty much uneventful. It was very relaxing, and I enjoyed myself a lot. It was good to get out and do a little shakedown on the trailer. So I'll show you here in a minute about where I developed this leak at, which it was totally unexpected. So hang in there and I'll show you what that is. So the drive from where I live to Molino, I wish I was saying it right, over by Canby, Oregon, was about a 3-hour drive, and I had to go over Mountain Pass, over Mount Hood. It's higher elevation. Sometimes you get snow, and most of the time you get a lot of rain. So the roads for the most part are pretty smooth. There are a couple of areas that are a little bouncy. So what I expected to go wrong was I did experience some rain, pretty good rain, driving rain, and a lot of semi-trucks passing by and blowing a lot of wet water all over the place. So when I opened the hatch, I did expect to see water come in through the hurricane hinge. But when I arrived at the park, opened up the hatch, a glad surprise was I saw absolutely no water inside whatsoever. which I was pretty tickled to death. So the seals worked great, and I did stop along the way, and all that driving rain coming back on the side of the trailer did collect on my little rain gutter here and force the water out instead of into my hatch, which worked like a charm. So I was pretty excited about that. The other thing that I thought would take place was my cooler. Like I said, it did bounce around quite a bit, and I expected that the cooler would kind of bounce around, move, and I had one viewer comment that he decided not to use a cooler in the back. He always put it in the back of his rig because the 12-volt connection would always pop out. So I figured when I got there, the refrigerator wasn't running or anything like that. But again, to my surprise, it didn't move, and the 12-volt connection stayed there, and the cooler worked great. I think the other thing that I expected to go wrong was the stove. These little grates on top, I expected to pretty much bounce out and fly all over the place and scratch up my stove, but once again, happy to say, nothing in the back moved. It was great. The refrigerator I plugged in on Friday night to make sure things cooled. I stocked it with some supplies, and I ran the 12-volt system from Friday night to Sunday afternoon. And when I started out, I probably had like 12.8 volts, and when I arrived back here Sunday afternoon, I dropped down to about 12.3. The refrigerator ran the whole time. I also ran lights, and Saturday night I had the windows open, and the fan on top, I turned it on, and it ran all night long. So I'm pretty happy with the electrical system. The refrigerator works great, the stove worked great, all the lights worked, and I used very little power, and very happy about that. But I did develop one little leak. So one place that I did not expect water to infiltrate was through the window itself. So the window is closed. There is no gasketing down here. There are a couple of slots here for water to run down, but when the window is closed and you have the pressure of passing vehicles and a lot of rain pushing up against this window, it forced water inside and past the window, and it was coming through the window here when it was closed. And I did experience a little bit of a wet blanket here, which dried out pretty quick, but I did have water coming through, and it came through this window here. Let's see if I can close this. So window is closed. This little rubber seal here is up against the glass, but there is just ever so slightly of a little gap, and that water pressure forced its way into the window here, into this channel, and like up and around that window. So I mean, the forces of that pressure of passing vehicles and water just being shoved right into there caused that to leak. So I was not expecting that. So a remedy. I don't have a remedy yet for this. I thought about maybe putting some sort of gasket down here. I am not sure. One person said what they do is they lay like a plastic garbage bag inside, and they lay it out over the edge here, and then they close the door on that bag, and then if there is water, it collects on the bag itself, so when you open the door you can just tip that water out if any water gets in there. So that was the first shakedown and run of my little trailer, and it performed very well. Like I said, the electrical system operated flawlessly. Everything in the back stayed where it should and functioned well. No leaks, no failures, nothing. So that was a 6-hour round trip, and it did well, and I had a good time. So I met some wonderful people there. Randy and Bob and Dan and Matt and Clint and Tamara, his wife, Mary Ann, and there was a couple other, Courtney on the other side. They had a nice little camp-in trailer. They've got the windows on the front, and yeah, it was a nice little setup. They had a pretty cool little tent over their back end here. Most of the guys had some pop-up tents. I did not bring mine, only because my Jeep was pretty much full with a spare tire and water and chairs and carpet and, you know, everything else. So I'll tell you what I did. In every campground there is one of these guys, just one of these guys, you know. And I think it was about 12:30, maybe 1:45 in the morning, that I woke up and I had to use the restroom. Now, I parked my Jeep right next to my trailer, and I had a piece of carpet on the ground. So when I got ready for bed, stood on the carpet, took my shoes off, opened the door on my Jeep, put my shoes inside, shut the door, locked it with the key fob, jumped in my trailer, and I was out. About 12:30, 1:45, I had to use the restroom. So I climbed out. It was nice and cool and ever so quiet in that park. Oh, it was nice. But the bathrooms are about, I don't know, 300 feet away or so. So I had to get my shoes out of my Jeep. Well, if I unlock the Jeep, all the lights come on, and you know, that's pretty annoying as it is. You don't want to light up the whole park. So I stuck my key into the door and turned the key, and that set off the alarm on my Jeep. So 12:30, 1:45, the alarm on the Jeep is just wailing, lights are flashing, and I panic because that's the first time I've heard this alarm go off. and I did not know how to operate the key fob. So I'm pushing the panic button, which caused the alarm on the Jeep to go faster. And you know, what seemed like an eternity, I am pushing buttons trying to get this thing to stop, and you know, after about 30 seconds I just held down on one button and it finally quit. But the damage was done, and I had to hang my head low, grab my shoes, take that lonely walk to the bathroom, hope nobody stoned me to death, and make it back. I became that guy in the RV park that everyone loves to hate because, well, of just that. So I want to say thank you to everyone who followed along on that little journey. Like I said, it was pretty much uneventful, and I had a good time, and I'd do it again. So I think my next trip is planned for about a week from now, and I'm driving to Nevada. Going to go down to Carson City in that area. Going to take my youngest boy with me, and we're going to just do a little camping here and there, and make a trip out of it. So hopefully we get some video of that and some actual camping stuff, and have a good time. But I want to thank everybody for following along with the build. I made a lot of good friends along the way, and you know, it's been an enjoyable ride. I don't know what I'm going to be doing next, but I do have some ideas. So I guess until the next trip, you come back, take a look at that, and we'll figure out what we're going to do next. There's still a few things I want to do to this before I'm totally done with it. Maybe hit the market, I'm not sure, but we'll see. So until then, thank you everyone for watching and staying tuned, and appreciate all the comments and all the love that you guys share. It's been great. You stay tuned.